got a real soft spot for old globe and space propaganda, particularly from the 60s and 70s era. A lot of that stuff I found quite telling. And today's clip comes from the 60s and is a very rare old clip, propaganda, space stroke globe propaganda, but kind of telling. And like I say, very rare. I've never seen this clip before. I'm going to keep the flow of the video the best I can because it's about 9 minutes long. I will come in and narrate at certain points just to highlight certain things. But other than that, I want to try and keep the flow of the video. But let's enjoy this old school, 1967, I believe. Bit of space and globe propaganda. I love this stuff.
Millions of years, man has lived on the Earth and has had some very strange ideas about it. Because it looked flat, he decided that it was flat. Definitely flat. In India centuries ago, some people thought that the Earth rested on the backs of huge elephants. The elephant stood on a giant turtle, which swam forever in an endless sea. There were ancient Greeks who believed that the flat Earth was surrounded by an ocean, with towering pillars supporting the sky, with the sun, the moon, and all of the stars.
I find that kind of interesting. I was never taught that the ancient Greeks thought the Earth was flat. All right, there are columns and what appears to be a type of firmament there. But the ancient Greeks I was taught at school planted sticks in the ground, looked up at the sky, and declared the Earth was a ball. I find that kind of interesting.
There were those who insisted that the Earth had an edge, beyond which lived frightful demons. If you came too close to the edge, as time went on, however, people became dissatisfied with these ideas of what the Earth was like. It could be flat, they reasoned, because it looked flat and felt flat. But why did the sun always set in one place in the evening and rise the next morning in another? Why did ships disappear below the horizon as they sailed out to sea? If the Earth were not flat, and if a ship sailed, always in the same direction, it might eventually return to where it had started. When a ship did indeed sail around the Earth, man could no longer doubt its shape. It was round.
So the ultimate proof was ships sailing in a circle. That was the ultimate proof of the globe in 1967 here when this was made. Even though you can do exactly the same on a level plane, obviously. There was a lot of pushing of conceptual ideas there that were cited as coming from the ancients and could well have done. But there was no addressing of what's physically true that can be tested and verified by all. If we're talking about physical reality, the Earth, and this place, how we experience it, and the physicality of it, then surely we should be citing physical demonstrations of the substance of this Earth. But there's none of that because all of it proves the globe Earth theory is physically impossible. So they have to play it with the psychology at play here, presenting on a sort of almost subconscious level alternative ideas to the globe Earth theory and making them look almost a bit silly. And then presenting the globe as being true, even though the proof that was cited for it, ships going around in a circle, ships supposedly going around a curve, well, we know the globe's physically impossible. We know those citation of observations of ships have no physicality. And when I say that, they have no physical demonstrations of the substance, water, to suggest large standing bodies of water can display convexity upon its surface. So those observations of ships supposedly descending around the curve are inconclusive because they have no physicality to back them up. We have to have physicality to back up our observations because the optical world's not the same as the physical. You only have to look at converging rail tracks on the horizon to realise that. Anyway, back to the video.
Today, if you were an astronaut, you could fly far out into space and see what the Earth is really like.
See here what's being pushed for the future of proving the globe Earth. Bearing in mind, space is a concept. And the space that these people push, air pressure systems residing next to vacuums without solid separation, is physically impossible. So they're going to show you what the Earth would like in a place that's physically impossible. Or what the Earth looks like, from a place that's physically impossible. So this should be interesting.
1 fire 0.
We already know you can't have propulsion in a vacuum. I've got plenty of demonstrations on this channel proving that. Not an opinion, a demonstrable fact.
From here you can see that the Earth is a sphere that seems to hang in space.
Ah, right, and there it is. From a place that's physically impossible, the proof that the Earth is a globe is a cartoon presentation. Ah, that'll really do it.
If you take a closer look, you can see that it is partly covered with water, or oceans, and partly with land, which we know as continents. Notice that there is about twice as much water as there is land. That each continent has mountains, valleys, deserts, lakes, and rivers. Each...
Are they trying to hypnotize us with this music here and put us in some sort of globe-like trance?
a different size and shape. The Earth turns constantly. This is called rotation.
Sorry, mate, but every single tower crane on this Earth proves the Earth is not rotating. Fact. And every demonstration involving a travelling pendulum proves, without a shadow of a doubt, the Earth is not a spinning, wobbling, oscillating ball. Fact. That's why there's no demonstration of travelling pendulums mimicking a tower crane being dead still and plumb on a spinning, wobbling, oscillating ball. So sorry.
Rotation? How does it work?
Don't worry about it, mate. It's a load of nonsense.
Find something that's round. The orange will do. Anything shaped like this, we call a sphere. Next, we need a stick. Now, push the pencil through the middle of the orange. The orange turns or rotates around the pencil. The pencil can be called an axis, the axis around which the orange turns. Now let's look at the Earth. It turns just like the orange.
But the Earth doesn't have an axis.
The Earth's axis isn't something that you can see or touch like the pencil, but it does have one. If you could see it, it might look like this. one end and the South Pole at the other. Although we can't see the axis, the Earth still turns or rotates around it. Now let's go farther out into space, where we can see both the Earth and the Sun. Outside the capsule, you will simply float. Because in space, things don't fall down as they do on Earth. From here we can see that the sun's rays shine on the Earth, giving heat and light. But does the sun shine on all of the Earth at once? On the side that's facing the sun, it's daytime on the Earth. But what about the side that's facing away from the sun? What's happening there? Yes, people are asleep because it's nighttime on the dark side of the Earth. What does the rotation of the Earth have to do with night and day?
The Earth's rotation causes day to change into night, and night into day again. Let's see. A day is 24 hours long. So, that must mean it takes a day for the Earth to make one rotation.
We've learned something about the Earth here in space, but there's more to learn back on Earth itself. Can we find out, for instance, why things always fall to the Earth? They don't in space. Why is it that unless something is held up, it always falls down?
Is there some kind of force which pulls us and everything else to the Earth?
There is, and the force is called gravity. Pick an apple. Let go of it. What pulled it down? What pulls them all to the Earth? Gravity. If it weren't for gravity, our Earth might be a rather difficult place in which to live. Everything would float, like an astronaut in space. Gravity keeps us and everything around us on the ground and holds us there. We've learned a lot about the Earth, but we've only begun. To learn more, we can use a model of the Earth, a globe. Like the Earth, the globe is a sphere.
Okay, so to learn more about the Earth, we need a cartoon conception that is presented to us in globe theoretical form. Oh dear.
Surface is divided into oceans and continents. And it rotates on an imaginary axis, just as the Earth itself. Wherever the sun shines on the Earth, it's daytime. And wherever it doesn't, it's night. Rotation causes...
Let me just pause it there. Regarding gravity, I don't deny the way reality presents itself to us. I deny the daft stories attached to the way reality presents itself to us. The problem with what's cited as gravity is it's not man enough to make the globe Earth theory a reality, because vectors of cranes can be disrupted by a gentle breeze, essentially. Therefore, gravity couldn't be holding a tower crane upside down in relation to me on the other side of the Earth if the Earth was a globe. Holding that crane dead still and plumb whilst doing the ludicrous speeds the globe Earth theory suggests, that's just ridiculous when gravity can be overcome by a gentle breeze. Flags show you that. Clouds show you that. Tower cranes show you that. They deviate from the plumb when it starts to get windy. Like I say, I don't deny the way reality presents itself to us. I don't need to. I just need to stand by it. That's all. And it proves to us all that the globe Earth theory is physically impossible. And what is cited as gravity actually doesn't help the globe Earth theory, just makes it worse. And what gives us night and day, I believe the sun is very much a personal, individual experience. Okay? That's it. Regarding the bigger picture of what's going on in the sky, it would be impossible for me to say. I'm here on Earth. I can only, when discussing the Earth, I can only cite what's physically true here on Earth. And that's all I do. It's the most honest, logical approach, and it can't be refuted. The problem is, because it goes against the mainstream beliefs, people have a hard time digesting what is simply true. It's mad, really.
Day to change into night, and night back into day again. Gravity causes things to fall to the earth and holds them there. Actually, the globe can help with many questions about the earth. Why do we have winter and summer? Why do the seasons change? Why is it colder at the North Pole than at the equator? Why do snow and ice never melt at the North and South poles? Why do we have temperate zones and equatorial regions?
I've got one more. Why are we taught the Earth is a globe when in actual fact that is the globe Earth theory is physically impossible? Why are we taught that? Why can't anyone refute me online with some kind of physical demonstration? And why are mainstream globe believers blind to that demonstrable fact? It's the psychology at play. That's the only thing that keeps all this together, is belief systems and psychology. Fascinating to watch, although sometimes a little bit disturbing. Interesting to entertain old bits of propaganda from the 60s in this case, the pushing of narratives for space, and of course quite revealing regarding the ancient Greeks, and of course the fact what they actually cited as so-called proof for the globe. Again, embarrassing, just like all the other so-called proofs. The bottom line is, people like myself will never stand by another concept, another map, another model. Never. I'm only ever going to stand by what's physically true, and based off the back of that, I demand full exploration, because what we've been taught as fact is actually impossible, and that's the globe. So to eliminate any problems, any debates, any propaganda, any liars, misrepresenters, any agents, provocateurs, anyone with an agenda, anyone with flawed logic, I eliminate all of that by simply standing by what is physically true. That's all I need. That's all you need. That's all anyone with an honest heart needs to prove that the globe's impossible. Remember that. And no one will be able to refute you. Never accept another concept, another idea. Stand by what's physically true. Demand full exploration off the back of that. This is what should have happened 11 years ago. Look where pushing concepts and ideas have got us. Nowhere. Good thing is, a younger generation is seeing through this, and the propaganda is starting to misfunction and backfire and have a counterproductive result now. And of course, when we look back at the old stuff, it's great. Very revealing. Have a good one, everyone.